I've been rather busy this week, so the creative process for this week's review has been a little bit rushed. Nevertheless, I have been in consultation with this week's board game, that is Dixit, and we've been bouncing off a few little ideas with each other. What? No, we're not going to go with that joke about genitalia, Dixit. It's far too obvious. Yeah, we're not going to go down that path. Nor are we going to reference Tim Burton's follow-up Alice Through the Looking Glass. That's far too obscure. Nobody saw that film. So it's quite difficult trying to find that balance between blatancy and obscurity. And so I guess there's just no intro this week. Oh well. Today we're going to be looking at Dixit from Libellude. It is an incredibly short form style of storytelling game. One player is going to pick a picture card from their hand in secret, and they'll accompany it with a phrase or some sort of outburst. All the other players are going to submit a card themselves and try to guess the identity of the original card. That's nearly the whole game there in its entirety, so let's take a ganders. Dixit is a delightful little game which revolves around this little deck of cards which are full to the brim of wonderful imagery. The artist, who has effortlessly applied her paintbrush, really captures the essence of fairy tale literature, combined with the fact that there could be some influences of some hallucinogenic sampling going on. You also get to have a little wooden rabbit playing piece conjuring up the spirit of Lewis Carroll, and you get a bunch of these tokens depending on the number of participants in the game. This game is tremendously simple to learn. Although the rulebook is quite thick, it's only thick because it is printed in multiple languages. Everything you need to learn this game is printed on one page. Basically, at the start of the game, everybody is going to get dealt a hand of 6 cards. One person is going to be assigned the storyteller. That storyteller is going to look through their cards and they're going to submit one of their cards in secret. And with it, they've got to utter a sentence, a phrase, a word, a song lyric, a hodgepodge of random jibber-jabber. It's entirely up to you. So for this example, I might say Barbie doll. I'll submit it, and then it's up to everybody else to play a card from their hand in secret as well that matches the description as closely as possible. So let's take the card I described as Barbie to the group. Put it down. Everybody else has submitted a card face down as well. We shuffle them up, and then I call out, is number 1 Barbie? Is number 2 Barbie? Is it number 3 or is it number 4? Everybody then gets their voting tokens and tries to guess the identity of my card. So if I vote for number 1, another vote for number 1, and a third vote for number 1. Brilliant, right? Everybody's guessed your card. That's what you wanted. Well, actually, that's the opposite. You see, if everybody guesses your card, you're not going to score any points. You don't want to make your answers too obvious. That is the challenge of the storyteller. Nor do you score any points if nobody votes for you. So being the storyteller is quite challenging. You've got to find that right balance. You've got to get at least one vote, but not all of them, to score any points. So what you need to do is try to appeal to the group dynamics, know their interests. So if you know that there's one thespian playing, I might say Henrik Ibsen for this card, because I know that he was the playwright who wrote A Doll's House. Hoping that guy knows what I'm on about, he might vote for me. So, is number 1 Henrik Ibsen? Or is it number 2, number 3, or number 4? So, people do their votes. We've got a vote for 2, a vote for 4, and another vote for 2. Happy days, this is perfect. The storyteller is going to earn themselves some points. This is the only way that the storyteller can earn points on their turn. Players will also earn points if they guess the correct card, and other players will also earn bonus points if somebody voted for the card that they submitted. This game plays best when you know the dynamics of the group. If you all have a close relationship with one another, then you're going to be able to use your prior knowledge. You might know who has particular interests in what field and who has gaps in their knowledge. So you might play this card and appeal to the Britpop fan by going, "My mum, my beautiful neighbourhood." Or you might want to click with the cinephile by saying Rosebud for this one. As stated earlier, the artwork is a delight. It's weird yet charmingly beautiful. All the images elicit emotional responses, and they're abstract enough that your answers aren't going to be glaringly obvious. The majority of the pictures as well allow you to focus on the picture as a whole, or you can study smaller details within the frame. The scoring mechanism as well is just a bit of a byproduct of the game, because yes, it is nice to win, but what really seems to matter with this game is the creative process, the journey that you all undergo. If you don't get the group dynamics right, then this game can fall a little bit flat. If you're new to the group, then it can be a bit of a struggle because you don't know everybody else's likes and dislikes, and can ultimately make you feel even more ostracised. Furthermore, you've got to have the in-house rule where everybody has to play on a level playing field. You can't have any references that are shared between one and another person because they have a shared memory because of that time they spent together with that travelling circus in France, or the time that they spent together in the clink. By all means, play to each other's strengths and weaknesses, but you've got to have that playing field where anyone could get that reference, not a private one. It's not for everyone, as creativity is so important for this game. It can actually make people feel a little self-conscious. The fact that there are no rules nor regulations can actually stifle minds. The fact that your responses can be as open-ended, as wide as your imagination allows it to be, can be liberating to some, yet really restricting to others. One of Dixit's merits is that it acts as a great stepping stone towards games that require a more advanced level of creativity. Ever wanted to try storytelling or role-playing games like Gloom or Dungeons and Dragons, but the thought of them just sound that little bit too daunting? Well, Dixit acts as a perfect introduction. It requires a bit of imagination, a little bit of thinking outside the box, all in the safe parameters of a game that is in incredibly short format. I think it is a perfect insight as to whether or not games about creativity are going to be suitable for you. I myself really enjoy this game, and I like to get it out occasionally with friends for a little bit of fun. I also really enjoy hearing people's insights, hearing their ideas, their inspirations behind the choices and the reasons they make, because I get to know them more on an interpersonal level and at least gain a little bit of general knowledge out of it. So then I says to Mabel, I says, Dixit is a French-produced game. When translated to English, means Dixit. So anyway, I says to Mabel, so there you have it, that was Dixit, a game that I thoroughly enjoy. I would highly recommend this game to anyone who has that little creative itch that needs scratching. Furthermore, I would suggest that families would enjoy this as well, because it can really help to cultivate a child's imagination. If you get a little bit tired of the base game, there are bunches of expansions out there, all of which just add more and more cards to the deck. Furthermore, there's a little variant that I haven't tried yet that I am very eager to give a little go, and that is, on your turns, you're not actually allowed to say any words. You either have to mime or just make noises, which could add a lot of humour to the game. Now, I wouldn't recommend everyone to go out and buy this game though, because people's opinions on this game are quite polarising. However, I think it would be a bit of an injustice if you didn't at least give this game a try. Anyway, I have been the Board Game Chap. Happy gaming, and cheerio.